Richard Gifford, table 12 please. Table 16, Jack Whelan, Dan Chanter. Jack Whelan, Dan Chanter, table 16. If Dan could come to the top table before he goes to table 16 please. Table 18, Liam White, Luke Gilbert. Liam White, Luke Gilbert, table 18. Callum Kendall, Neil Wren, table 19. Nathan Ellis, Jamie McDonald, table 20. And table 1, Gurvinder Gill, Clint Hansen, table 1.
Gurvinder Gill versus Clint Hansen. Round 1 of World Rules Pool Tour Event 5. Coffee breaks and nominates yellows. Only really that one problem ball at the bottom of the table. One below the black, which causes a bit of a headache. Doesn't have a shot to get on it now, so could play a telling little safety shot here if he wanted to, just to bring that yellow out, maybe land behind the black, but I think he wants to attack from here. It's not a surprise, because it is a decent opportunity. Project Overland asking what rules they're playing here. I'm just going to put it out there for you that this is called the World Rules Pool Tour. That's a surprising miss. Pretty sure that yellow and bog passes through the two reds as well, so great chance here for Gurvinder Gill to take the first frame. Needs to pot this clean. Didn't want to catch the yellow on the way through. Maybe this doesn't pass. It looks like he's having to play it off the red. Thought there was a gap between the two, but I think he's playing this. Yeah, plays it off the red, but plays it well. Again, just needs to make sure he doesn't do anything silly. It should be very simple. Can just screw into center table. Don't want to get cute, because that 8 ball will play big. Nice opening frame to get on the board after you've missed the ball. You won't get too many chances against Clint Hansen, so that's a good frame. Gurvinder Gill takes the first frame and leaves 1 frame to 0. Cut break for Clint, and pots 1 of each. And what an effective break that is. Goodness me, this one will be over quickly. I'm not sure you could place these yellows better by hand. After missing the ball in the previous frame, he will love the fact that these have gone so simple to get himself an early opener. So that's simple clearance for Clint Hansen. Levels things up at 1 frame each. This, of course, a race to 7. That race doesn't change until the latter stages. Josh Corkett completed his win over Danny Davis, went through 7 frames to 5. Ian Davenport 5 frames to 3 against Ian Duffy. Chris Hampson beating Carl Egger 3 frames to 2. Spencer Jones and Jack Schofield tied up at 2 frames each. Carl Sutton. Sorry, I'm looking at old scores here. I needed to refresh. My apologies. Chris Hampson actually beat Carl Egger 7 frames to 5. My mistake. I hadn't refreshed my my screen. Carl Sutton did win that decider against Adam Davis, so having been 5 frames to 1 up, and Adam Davis fighting back to 5 each, went to 6 each, and Carl won the decider. Eddie Barker won his match against Joe Sison 7 frames to 1. Chris Day now 5-4 up against Jordan Green. Anthony Ted's on the hill against Glenn Whitmore. Jake McCartney beat Aki Khan. Scott Gillespie beat Scott Crawley. Neil Randall, the bookie, through against 7-2 against Ben Young. Phil Harrison we saw go through against Gareth Hibbert. I was just talking to Gareth on the conclusion of that game, and he said it was the cue that he was struggling a bit with. Greg Batten was 3-0 down against John Chapman. He won a heel game, 7 frames to 6, so he goes through into round 2. And Andrew Jones beat Paul Johnson 7 frames to 1. Rob Warren's currently 2-0 up against Alex Lewis. A lot of games that have just got underway. Liam White is playing Luke Gilbert. Liam White's won the first 2 frames. That's definitely one to keep our eye on. Nice snooker by Clint, well controlled.
Carl Hoff, top table please, Carl.
Shane Thompson has changed into his pool gear. He's ready for his match to be called. I think he's due on in this 3 o'clock session. Indeed, he's playing Carl Hoff. Paul Moulding picked up his Shane's bag earlier on and commented on how heavy it was. And I said that's because he's still carrying around his 3 trophies. He's got them all in his bag. Takes them everywhere with him. Gurvy still in control of the frame as long as he's got that yellow over the top right pocket. Shane Thompson. Is that talking to Declan Brennan? Plays the deliberate foul. Pretty effectively too. Gurvy's still with 2 balls tied up. What we've got to start doing over these weekends is having a competition about who's got the best pair of shoes on. We've seen some great shoes on display, and another pair here. Clint Hansen sporting a nice pair of Gucci's by the look of it. Look at those beauties. There's a couple quid's worth. They're the winners for me at the moment. We'll get Scott Gillespie on and see if he's still wearing his Spurs. You can't beat a pair of Gucci's though, can you? Bit of class. Wade Morley was wearing some Gucci loafers in the first match this morning, but probably got them off of Middlesbrough Market. Pair of Snides for $12.99. Clint sporting the real deal there, I reckon. It's a clever shot. That yellow. He's not going to want to pot it because he's still got the yellow tied up next to the 8 ball. So I think probably looking at just getting it in front of those reds, but that's a very delicate shot. Yeah, mate. Yeah, nice. Very nice. Just use the red to hold the yellow over the pocket and maintain that advantage. He's just now basically bought himself some time to be able to move the yellow next to the 8 ball. Lee Kendall flown out the blocks. He's 2-0 up against Ricky Gould. Lee literally turned up about 5 or 6 minutes before 3 o'clock. He said the M6 was a bit of a nightmare, so it took him a long time to get here. I think the traffic all the way around here. We took an hour longer than we should have done. Typical Friday traffic. So I think that Clint has tried to play the deliberate foul and pop that yellow over the pocket and just try and waste Gubby's first shot. Good thinking. Didn't quite have the execution. He was trying to forego Gurvi the chance of developing this bad yellow next to the 8. But he's managed to get it out now. And now it's very much Gurvinder Gill in the driving seat in the frame. Not a great deal that Clint can do here. I think if I'm Gurvi, I'd probably just pop my 2 yellows and leave it for Clint. The only thing that Clint can do now is exactly what he's going after, so he's going to look at putting the 8 ball into this pack of reds, just bury it in there. So, and he's just told you there he wants to leave the cue ball touching the yellows, so it takes away one of Gubby's shots as well. Yeah, he didn't hit it with the required pace, but that's actually a very effective shot. Very effective shot. You saw Gubby tapping on the table, and that puts Clint back in charge of this frame. That's a disaster. That really was a good shot from Clint. It just turned the frame around. It just shows how, despite the fact you can be in complete control, if you see the right shot, you can turn the match around.
Right, next match on table 15, Chris Freeler, Craig Benstock, please.
Liam White now 4-0 up against Luke Gilbert. Jack Whelan 2-1 up against Dan Chanter. That's going to be no walkover for Jack. Dan is a very good player, and he's taken a few scalps throughout this series so far. Nathan Ellis has just gone 3-2 up against Jamie McDonald. Callum Kendall's gone 2-0 up against Neil Wren. Peter Mullaney 2-0 against Steve Oxley. Phil Parkin 2-0 against Harjeet Singh. Neil Raybone 3-0 against Aaron Keeling. So Clint breaks off in frame 4. One problem ball on reds and he can just stun back into the yellow now. That's just enough, I think. I think that just opens up the potting angle for the red to middle. It's close, and even if it hasn't, he's got the perfect ball at the bottom of the table to go and cannon it again, but I think it was beautifully judged.
Right, next match on table 30, Enrique Bordoni, Mohammed Adam.
Joe Ward asking if Chris Melling's part of the tour. I can confirm that he is. So Chris Melling will play at 6 p.m. tonight, and he plays the winner of Chris Day and Jordan Green, which is currently 5 frames each. Wouldn't be at all surprised if that was the streamed game. We haven't had that confirmed yet, but yeah, it looks like it will be. Chris obviously always a draw, and if he plays Chris Day, well, either one of those opponents would be a tough game. But Chris Day's on a great streak of form at the moment. Liam White now 5-0 up against Luke Gilbert. Nathan Ellis, Jamie McDonald now 3 frames each. Enrico Forgione has just been called to the table against Muhammad Adam. But it's Gurvinder Gill at the table with pretty simple 3-ball clearance to put it back to 3 frames to 2. The cut break this time not effective. He goes dry, and every ball apart from one is on the left hand side of the table, so a lot of traffic. Don't even think he's got an opening ball here, so may just be playing a little safety, a little soft screw off the side cushioning behind the yellow perhaps, or is there a gap between red and yellow to top corner? No, just a safety. Well, that black was travelling, moving up towards the top left pocket, and now this could turn into a bit of a tactical frame. I think now that 8 ball's gone over the top left, we're going to see a couple of balls pushed over that side. He's got a red if he wants it, but again just deciding to push a couple of balls safe. And as I said, this could be, as soon as the 8 ball goes near a pocket in this rule set, then you tend to see it a little bit more crowded around. Suddenly the balls seem to be attracted to it. Yeah, I can confirm that Chris Melling is playing. He's here and he's playing at 6 p.m. and it will be on the stream table. Following this game at 4:30 is going to be Scott Pope versus Sean Chipperfield. think we're going to see Clint put the yellow in front of the 8-ball. Yeah, that gives him control of the frame.
Table 3, Ben Anderson. Declan Brennan, please. Table 3.
I can tell you that the whitewash is complete for Liam White. He's beaten Luke Gilbert 7 frames to 0. So I think, yeah, all Govey can do is just crowd the 8-ball and the yellow with a view to getting something across the front of the 8-ball to give him some control later in the frame. As soon as Clint put that yellow in front of the 8-ball, then it's given him the advantage in the frame. That's beautifully played. But do you attack from here? I mean, he's got a lovely angle just to punch the yellow in and develop the 8-ball, but there's no guarantee he's going to be on his last yellow. But is he forced to go for it? I mean, he doesn't have to. He could keep control of that pocket. As you can see from the scrolling banner, next matchup, Sean Chipperfield against Scott Pope. Clint deciding it wasn't the time just plays a deliberate foul. Gurvi looking to double the red. Back across, right. Didn't want to pot it. Was looking to cover the pocket. Very difficult for reds here. Even if you manufacture a position where you get over to the right hand side of the table, you can put red onto the yellow and get a ball in front of the 8 ball, but that's not guaranteed. And then Clint would have 2 visits to develop the position. So I'm just going to have to come up with something here. Looking to put cover, but don't really think that helps him too much. Clint's got all the time in the world to just keep moving that yellow around till he gets it into a favourable position. Gurvi can lay a snooker at the top of the table, trying to force Clint into potting the yellow over the top left, but Clint's not going to pot that until he's got his other yellow in a position he wants it, and he's got the time on his side. And didn't get the snooker. He's looking for a fuller contact on the red. And now the yellow in the middle of the table. Is there a shot for Gurvi if he can get to the bottom right hand side of the table and then that shot's not on now. Bottom right hand side of the table and then play Clint's yellow up on top of the red to pop the yellow over the pocket, and then Clint would have a yellow tied up, the 8 ball tied up. He'd have 2 visits, but he'd have to develop both balls and would be relying on a little bit of luck. Gurvi's still, well, he's trying to lay a snooker, but I think I'm not sure why Gurvi's pushed this yellow down over the bottom left-hand pocket. I think Clint will be over the moon that he's done that, because that yellow is the ball that he needs to put Clint in trouble with. He needs to get that yellow into the pack, into the 2 reds, right on top of the 2 reds. Probably wouldn't be leaving a foul snooker, so I did say from the outset, as soon as the 8-ball went over the top left pocket, this was going to end up being a tactical frame. But I think Govy's just missed an opportunity there. Maybe he's just seeing something differently to me. He can have a go here. As you can see, the 8-ball will come out, so he can play. If he plays his plant red onto red, he kicks the 8-ball out of the way, and then he's just got this one problem ball down in the left-hand side of the table. I think he needed to play that much firmer. I think he needed to play that much firmer to get the 8-ball out in the open. And now Clint's just going to make sure the 8 is right over the pocket. And if that's a touching ball, that's a very good shot, because Govy, if it wasn't touching, you could punch into these reds and get them all down table. Couldn't have been touching. I'm not sure what Govy's long-term plan is here. I just don't see how he can now win this frame. I think, as I said, when the yellow was in the open, he had to put the yellow on top of the reds and get that yellow into a problem area. He could double the red off the bottom cushion and push that yellow back up top of table, but I mean, at some point, these reds will all come out. There's no question. Clint trying to make it as difficult as possible for Govy to develop all three of these balls with one shot. Actually, the reds, he's manufactured a situation here where he does have a half a chance, but he just needs to find a situation where he can develop all three of these balls with one visit. The thing that's going to be playing on his mind constantly is this red at the bottom of the table. Don't think it passes. That's a good shot. So now he's got two of those balls out. And he's turned this around now. That's a very good shot from Clint. Wow. He has judged that to absolute perfection. That ball will come out though, so Govy can just nudge this one aside and then just punch this ball out. don't think it's touching the 8 ball, so it's a delicate little shot, but yeah, he's fine. There you go. Could have just played that a fraction harder. Maybe another foot of pace to have it in the middle of the table would have been a little better. Govey's played really well to get himself back into this frame, and now he's got a very good chance. Yeah, that really has worked out well for Clint. I don't think I think Govey's going to be, well, if this red goes, then he's definitely going to go frame. If it doesn't, he's just going to put it across the yellow. Now suddenly Govey has gone big favourite for this frame. He's got 2 visits and only 1 bad ball. So from a always very intriguing. I know some people are just not interested in watching the tactical side of these games, but I think sometimes frames like this are just very, very interesting. Yeah, you can have stalemates where you get a very boring tactical frame, but actually when you get frames like this where every shot is just thought out and it's just manipulating a situation, I think Govey's thought this through and played a really good frame here. So, what reward for Gurvinder Gill after turning that frame around in the last to get back on level terms and back on serve? Well, yellows are probably going to be the ball. He doesn't have an opener on reds unless this red does pass along the top cushion. But either ball that you go for, you've got the red and yellow tied up together just above what's the brown spot. There's been a couple of tactical frames in this match, and Clint Hansen in one of them, from being a mile behind, played a great shot to turn it round. Gurvinder Gill was behind in that last frame and played a series of good shots to be able to turn that frame around. So it's been a really good watch so far. Gurvy not fancying anything there. So, because he'd potted one of each, then he nominated yellows, and he was already on yellows, so he was just developing one of the tricky balls. think Gurvy can get past the red. Just taking a close look at it, it's pretty tight. That is tight. I think he can get through to the potting angle to play it long. Maybe. No, he's just gonna flick off the face of it. So Clint on reds, and all of the reds do have a pocket. He's got an opener to bottom left. What he's concerned about is what he plays after that, because it doesn't look like the red that he's closest to passes. It doesn't pass to middle. It's going to be tight if it passes to top left. If it passes to top left, he could play it now. I just stun back for the one that is just to the right of the 8 ball. Going to assume that it doesn't pass. Into either of those pockets, so he's opened it up now anyway. And that's come out pretty well. So the only real issue now is the red that's just on the near the bulk line. So he looks like he can pot this off the red at the top of the table. Again, they judge the pot well, but he's got exactly the same problem. He's put this red ball back in trouble. So, does it pass? I don't think it does pass. I think if he can just get to the knuckle, then he's okay, because he can just put that ball into the jaws of the pocket. But I would have wanted to clear from here an inch less of pace, and he's massive odds on to win this frame. He just judged that really well, could just get to that left knuckle and played it at the perfect pace to give it every chance. So he's just got a little bit too much angle here. He's looking at the cannon down onto the yellow, which is just above the blue spot, and he's judged that to absolute perfection. Very nice. Anything less and he may have had a problem, but that was really good. What a great game this has been so far. Nip and tuck, nothing between the two players. Clint Hansen takes the advantage though. He wins one against the break, and he now leads 4 frames to 3. So, now Clint Hansen with a great chance. Sorry, this is Gubby at the table, isn't it? It is Gubby at the table, sorry. I was just, when I'm looking at the camera, watching him walk around the table from the bottom half, it's tough to tell apart from the shoes, because they're both a very similar stature. Look at that, they're both very slim, like racing snakes. More meat on a butcher's pencil. I need a bit of that in my life. Too much meat. They're both very similar, actually, aren't they? They both, aside from their physique, they're both jet black hair and that sport in the beard. Got a lovely angle here. Stun across to the side cushion, red into middle and black waiting. And this game continues to give a bit of everything. Really has been a super game to watch. As much as I love seeing the break and clears, I like seeing the odd tactical frame in there as well. Get the players thinking. Four frames each. Shane Thompson down there at the bottom, the West Countryman beating the man from Stoke-on-Trent, Carl Hoff, 3 frames to 0. Carl Hoff. I wonder if his nickname is like who was Boris Karloff. The older ones amongst us will know Boris Karloff, very famous actor that didn't he play Frankenstein? Pretty sure he did. Karloff. Very famous actor. But it was like many years ago. The old black and white films. I think it was the original Frankenstein's monster. Paul's looking at me a bit perplexed. He doesn't know what I'm talking about, but he's a bit younger. Not much, mind. I mean, you wouldn't think it to look at him. Graham throw nose, look. There you go. 1931 classic. That was the original, wasn't it? So, we go tactical again. Gotta say, Govey does think these shots out really well. Clint just making sure that 8 ball's out in the middle of the table. We're back in the debate territory now. While they're playing a tactical frame, we're just talking about the virtues of a Jaffa cake. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan. Parades as a biscuit, but it's not. It's a cake of some description. Plain chocolate, not good. Not a fan. Last tour was a debate about the location in Norwich. Now, Jaffa cakes, you get it all here at the World Rules Tour. You don't get this kind of stuff with Free Sports, I can tell you. The cake debate. Definitely not a biscuit, Trev. Just pretends to be one, mate. No place for it. There you go. You can't dunk them. Best dunking biscuit? Digestives. Well, you've got to find something to talk about when there's a tactical frame going on, don't you? Yeah. Paula doesn't like the rules. And Paula did mention an hour or so ago that she doesn't like the rules, but she's still watching. Stick with it, Paula. Dean knows the score. Dean loves a bit of world rules. See, Shorty's talking about the hobnob there, but I'm sorry, my friend, you've just got that all wrong. They just don't hold the coffee. It all drains out before you get it into your mouth. Not enough consistency in a hobnob, I'm afraid. Too much air. Digestive in a cup of tea, that's the only one. Anyway, that's the biscuit debate done. Shortly be moving on to chocolate bars. Shortbread biscuits, says Paul. I mean, he's got a point. He has got a point. Walker's shortbread biscuits. Get a tin for Christmas. I shall make sure in the interview afterwards that I ask the winner what their favourite biscuit is for dunking, because it has played a big part in this frame. So just tried to clip the yellow on the way through, cushion first. But he had to play it on the tentative side, and he's just missed it. So the ball will come out. You can go cushion first and clip it half ball. Quite often these do find their way into the middle pocket. You kind of clip it half ball, double into the middle. Well, you might. Oh, nearly called it. Goodness me, that was close. But the problem is, he's played it pretty firm, and maybe just been a little bit unfortunate there. You'd have thought he'd have had some kind of shot, but I don't think he can get past that 8 ball to find the potting angle. Double to middle, maybe all he has, but that's a tough shot. That's what he's lining up. I think that's pretty much all he's got, and he has to take it on. Doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball, because if he pots this, he's going to be on the 8 ball to left middle. Didn't judge that too well. Well, I was just about to say he needs to be careful here, because the red in the table will play big. He had a whole half of the table to play into, just needed to play that with a touch of side. He still has the plant, which is, it should be fairly simple. I mean, they're never that simple over this distance, but it's one that you expect him to make. You can pretty much take the second red, you could just take your eye off it entirely and just play to almost pop the first red, ignoring the second one, and it would be pretty much a straight plant. He navigates it successfully, and potentially one that got away from Govey. He played himself back into that game really well, and he had the 2 visits and carved himself out a chance to win the frame. But the last yellow just evaded him, and it's Clint Hansen who takes the advantage again. He wins that one against the break. He leads 5 frames to 4. You got it, Ryan. You've signed up for the Jaffa Cake debate. Nice break from Clint. Spread far and wide again, and reds should be gone. Is he on this? If he's not, that's a bit of an error. That's tight. That is tight. If he's not on it, he's going to have to come back for it. He must just pass. Almost had to play it with just a little touch of right hand side just to turn the ball over. Clint waggling his cue around. I'm not sure what there's an issue there. I guess if there's any problem ball on the table, it's just this one that's in the cluster between the four yellows. May just cause a problem only because he has to go back down table to get it. I think, does it pass into, yeah, it looks like it passes into the left centre below the yellow, so he's gone down for it now. Yeah, he's landed on it. Again, probably just the wrong angle, so he just needs to navigate the traffic. The cue ball having to do a little bit more work than ideal. Again, it's just more work to do with the cue ball. If he takes the one over the pocket first, he has to navigate behind the black. He's got the yellow in the bulk area to get around as well, so it's all things that yellow plays pretty big as well. This just isn't as easy as it may have been, and he's looking at taking on the plant because that path just isn't nice, and he is going to play the plant, and this could definitely go wrong. If he doesn't get the contact point right, he could lose the red. Could lose the red down table. If he hits this one thin, he's gone back to the other one. Just playing it with loads of check side. Yeah, just gone wrong. Don't think he's on this. Wow. Big frame, this one. Huge frame. And it was just gradually going wrong. We said that the cue ball was just getting further and further out of perfect line, and that really is one that's gotten away from Clint. This is a big frame, and this is one he definitely should have won.
Okay, 4:30 session coming up. There are still some matches going on from the previous session.
You could tell right from early when he was waggling his cue that he just ran out of position on one of those shots where he expected the ball just to run across a bit further, and then it just got worse and worse.
Mark Williams, Richard Chapman, Mark Williams.
That was tough. Just landed right between everything. It wasn't ideal to get on anything. And ultimately that could and should cost him this frame.
On table 4, Craig Wilson, Jimmy Croxton.
What an intriguing game this has been so far.
Table number 4. On table number 5, Dom Cooley, Joe Warren. Dom Cooley, Joe Warren. Table number 5. On table number 7, Joe Hayward, Josh Kane. Joe Hayward, Josh Kane. Table number 7. On table number 8, Jamie Clements, Carl Morris.
This isn't
Jamie
ideal.
Clements, Carl Morris.
And
Table
he's
number
looking
8.
at the yellow long because he's just ran probably a couple of inches too far on the one at the bottom of the table. He'd have to really punch that around the angles to get out. So he's going to take this one long.
9, Dylan Leary,
Just needs to
Nick
cue it with
Taylor.
authority. Can't quit on it.
Dylan
This is
Leary,
missable.
Nick Taylor. Table number 9.
Lovely. It's a ball you expect him to get, but with a bit of pressure on it.
On table number 10,
A lot of
Steve
scoreboard
Ritchie,
pressure on that
Oliver
shot.
Lawrence. Steve Ritchie, Oliver Lawrence, table number 10.
Nice. Gurvinder Gill takes advantage and again levels the score. Both of the last frames have gone against the break. It's 5 frames each and Gubby's going to break off in frame number 11. So we're just, if you're turning up to watch Sean Chipperfield against Scott Pope, we're just obviously running a bit behind schedule now with this game being a little bit longer. It's currently just ticking over 90 minutes. But, we've got Sean Chipperfield and Scott Pope next, and they're both pretty quick players, so they'll get us back on track. Lovely govely. Well done, Kev. I like that. I'm using that one. Again, this another one that's just not totally straightforward. And now already just slightly short of pace, so needs to kill the cue ball. And plays for the cannon on the yellow, and that's another one that's gone wrong, and he slaps his cue on the side of the table. He's just getting a bit frustrated with the way this is going. His cue ball just getting away from him a couple times.
Richard Chapman, table 2. Richard Chapman, table 2.
And this has just come from the fact he was just short of pace on that last shot. The one that he's closest to. Can he play it long? In the top right. Very difficult to pick the angle when you're this close. Well, you can see there is a path through to the top right, but that's pretty ordinary, and I think he can just get through to the potting angle of this yellow anyway. Maybe just needs to turn it over. You can see him just cueing down into the ball, so maybe just needs to turn it over slightly. The trouble is with playing it long, is what do you do with the cue ball afterwards? They're that close together, it's hard to control. And that's another one that's gone wrong. Now, I don't think this double's on. He's got straight down and looked at the double, but I don't think it's there. No, just plays a bit of a nothing shot, really. Just brings that yellow out into a slightly better place in the middle of the table. So, Gurvinder Gill. Another chance, probably not a chance to clear, but a good chance to get well in control in this frame. So, putting a red across the path of the yellow, just buying himself another visit to the table, giving himself some of that control that he needs. Goes without saying, this is a huge frame. If Clint can find a way to win it, then he goes on the hill and he's breaking in the next.
On table 16,
all the players
Minter,
watching on, some
Minter,
waiting around for their 4:30 matches to start. Others watching the game with interest.
On table 17, Daniel Bishop, Tony Blount. Daniel Bishop, Tony Blount, table 17.
Don't think Gubby tries to do too much here. Probably just moves his ball in bulk.
Rich Wharton, Tom Cousins. Rich Wharton, Tom Cousins, table 18.
May have heard Tom Cousins being called to the table.
19, Mike Beckett, Connor Tracy. Mike Beckett, Connor
And
Tracy,
he will start to his account for the weekend, trying to win his second title of the season.
Simon Linus, table 20.
Of course, he was the winner when we played in Blackpool just a month or so ago. What was that, just 5 short weeks ago? We were in Blackpool. Goodness, there's been an absolute whirlwind of action over the last few months. That's a clever shot. Just giving Clint one ball to look at in the middle of the table and no opportunity to try and develop anything. Deliberate foul. Red up over yellow, but Govey can just use his first shot to bring that ball back into play. Just double it back down the table. Reds have a decent amount of control here because the yellow that is tied up with the 3 reds around it Those reds create a great barrier. That's a really tough ball to try and develop. I think, yeah, that's a clever shot from Gurvi, just pushing the yellow onto the side cushion. So now he's going to be looking at probably playing. Doesn't need to play a foul. He can just double his difficult red out at any time, so he doesn't need to play a deliberate foul. I did wonder just for a second if he was going to play red onto yellow, but there's absolutely no point in doing that. There's no point giving Clint two. Yeah, just screws across to the side cushion, and now he will just bring that red out. Double kisses it out. Probably would have liked it to have been a bit further out, maybe just below the bulk line, just to give himself a bit more room. And now he's sat on top of the 8-ball. That causes a bit of an issue as well. Really only gives him one ball to go after.
Next match on table 12, Pat Ward, Andy Barker.
The one nearest the bulk line.
Barker, table 12.
You can control this. He's not gone for a pot. Just putting the red across the face of the yellow. Clint trying to get another yellow in the mix, but I think he's left a bit of a gap here. Gurvi can play this into cushion first and get that red in front of the yellow. In fact, he's just going to plant the one that's closest to the pocket, just to leave it over. A few of these frames have gone tactically. And interestingly, the person for me that's been favourite in each of the frames, the person that's been in control, has subsequently gone on to lose. So Gurvi in control here. But can he convert it?
Next match on table 6, Michael Clark, Mike Larkins. Michael Clark, Mike Larkins, table number 6.
The two yellows are now in a pretty decent spot to be able to develop both in one shot. So something for Gurvi to think about here. You can't just leave Clint. He doesn't want to give two away anywhere. Just going to move out one of the tricky balls. Clint's just going to run down into the yellow. Can't really do very much here. He's going to play the deliberate foul. That's a bit of a risk, I think. He would have liked the cue ball to travel on and sit on top of the yellows, because I think Gurvi can develop the red that he's closest to and leave himself on the other one. He's still, I guess, from Clint's perspective, is a calculated gamble, because Gurvi's still got that ball on the right-hand side of bulk that he needs to land on at some point. but it was pretty much Clint throwing down the gauntlet there and saying, go on, have a go. And that's what Gurvy's looking at now. So I think he has to try and develop one of these and leave an angle, pop the yellow to the right hand side of these two. So develop one first and then leave the angle to get up onto that right hand side. Well, it looks like he's going to leave that red where it is and come back for that in a minute. And that's why, because he had the perfect angle to get up to exactly where he wanted. And how well he judged that. That's delightful. So now he's left his 2 visits to come back down and deal with that red in a couple of minutes. And I think he's got just the right angle here. He can either he can dig down into it and screw back off the side cushion, or he may just have enough just to be able to top through. I think he's got just the right angle. He has. I think this would be a lot more simple if the yellow wasn't over the top right pocket, because he would just double the red up over to that pocket. But it's very much now about the angle he leaves on trying to get the red out. As I say, if the yellow wasn't there, he'd leave it on the left-hand side of the table and then double it. What he's looking at here is maybe coming from behind, coming off the back cushion and kicking the red out, but then you lose a bit of control. If you could leave it just on the opposite side of the table that he is now, and then just try and feather it past those yellows back up towards that clear top right pocket, or sorry, top left pocket, isn't it? It's yeah, that one up there, one the red's closest to at the moment. But I'm not sure that he can. So if the yellow was, he's going to look at moving it now, and I was about to say, I think that's right, because he can. I was going to say, if the cue ball was where it is now, he can just miss the yellow and double it back up table. In fact, I think he's looking at digging into it and just leaving it, maybe just going up and down. Oh, that's a bad error. That's a bad error. So I can see what he was doing there. He was trying to punt it up and down table. So just he was trying to treble the red backwards and forwards, but he just hit it all wrong. And that's a big mistake. And after giving himself that chance, getting himself there, he will be greatly disappointed with the way that's ended. Clint dug in and just waited for his chance, and yet another frame where the person who was in control of it tactically has lost the frame. So Clint now on the hill. Oh, he's broken in his frame, and still it's just not coming out. A cluster of the yellow and the 2 reds together on the left. This is one of those matches that deserves a decider.
Is Zach in the room? Zach Leonard in the room? Next match on table 11. Tommy Lewis, John Egan. Tommy Lewis, John Egan, table 11.
It's interesting how there's at least 4 frames now which have gone tactically, which I don't think any of them were particularly by design. It was just the layout of the boards. I don't think either player's gone after a tactical frame. It was just after the break, they weren't really there, so it just ended up going that way. Don't think you want that to go. It is okay. Just dropped it on top of the red. Wouldn't have wanted to pot it. Goody trying not to leave the cue ball at this end of the table, because then it makes it easy for Clint to start developing those 2 difficult reds. And so far he's achieved it, but he's running out of balls to be able to play safe. Those 2 reds obviously causing Clint a problem, but equally yellows are there. This one's definitely in the balance. Oh, dear me. I don't think it would have mattered greatly had that gone in. It would have given Clint 2 visits and a chance to start moving things around. Oh, I don't think that was in the plan. I was looking to hit the yellow just slightly thicker and push the yellow in front of the red, but actually he's made that red potable now, and I think these are there for Clint. He can have a go for these. That was just such a subtle difference there between being perfect and going wrong, and those tiny little things can make all the difference, and that is going to cost Gurvinder Gill this match. Clint Hansen will clear up these last 3 balls, and it'll be him that goes through into the next round. A gritty tactical game, but a good game nonetheless. There we go, it's Clint Hansen who wins the match, and that was a good game. Next up, Sean Chipperfield against Scott Pope. We're going to go and catch a few words with Clint Hansen over in the interview room. See you there. Clint, I know at the start of that match you probably wouldn't have wanted it to go as tactical as it did, but there was a lot of tactical frames in there. Probably most of them went your way, and that was the difference in the result in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure most of it went my way. I didn't feel like that.
I think there were three key frames that went tactically, and
did I win 2, maybe?
No, well, there were 4 that went tactical. You won 1, you won 3 of them.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I should really, because used to play World Rules a lot. I should be clued up with the tactics, but to be honest, off the shots there, I was just guessing. I didn't really know what to do, to be honest. So I don't know.
It was effective.
Well, I think more luck than anything else, but yeah, I mean, I missed a couple of shots. Like looking back, like I haven't played a shot, and I thought, oh, maybe I should have played that shot. You know what I mean? Would have been a better shot, but maybe I need to take my time a little bit more when it comes to the tactical frames. Maybe I was rushing a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Clint, you're one of the few players who just seems to be able to transition between every rule set. You've had success at World Rules. I mean, you made the final down in London. You've won on the IPT, on the IPA this season. Also, you won a Supreme Series event, playing at Supreme Rules, I think. And you played Chinese. So, how do you transition so successfully between all of them?
I think, like I said, I think it's more luck than anything else. I'm not sure. Obviously, I've been playing pool for like 25 years now. So, I mean, when you get to a certain level with English 8-ball pool, it's, I mean, unlike that match. I've played the 4 events before this, and I don't think I've had one match like that where it's like tactical. Most like I say, when you get to like a top level, most of the frames are just break and dish, dry break dish. Do you know what I mean? So the rules don't really come into it that much.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but as I said at the top, you wouldn't have gone into that match trying to turn it into technical frames. Why do you think it was? Because I don't think it was Govey's game plan either. It was just the way the balls went, maybe?
Yeah, I think maybe the way the balls spread, maybe like just a couple of bad balls, and I didn't really want to push the boat out too much. Because I think some of the frames, well, maybe most of the frames, it was probably me trying to get it a little bit tactical. But I didn't, I mean, maybe if it was black ball rules or international rules, I might have pushed the boat out a little bit and gone for the clearances, but I just tried to cover a bag with one of my bad balls or get a bad ball out and snooker him. I don't know, that kind of thing really. I didn't want to go from not get him and then him clear up or snooker me and clear up. Do you know what I mean?
So through to round 2, Steve Singh the next. Do you know much about Steve?
I think I've played Steve a couple of times, to be honest. I can remember playing him on one of the Leicester tours. I won. I'm not sure what the score was, but he's a good player. I've seen him play a couple of times.
Another tough game, but I'm sure we're going to see you go have a deep run in this one again this weekend.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Hopefully see you somewhere deep in the tournament, semi-finals and finals.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, mate.